Okay, now's the time to start gaming. What I want you to do is to invite some friends, some colleagues, whatever. It doesn't have to be people who are from your target audience. It could be nice, but what is much more important is that it's people that you trust, who you know a bit, that you are willing to show your little darling to and perhaps get some negative feedback as well. So it should be people that you're comfortable around. And introduce your fantastic game to them, get them playing. That's the issue now. And what you want is a lot of feedback. You want to observe what's happening and get a feeling of how do they receive this game, how do they play it, what is their expression of the thing that you've created. And what's important here is that they don't become your puppets, that you're trying to control what they're doing. What you want to see is how they are using your game. And a way to do that could be to give them the rules and let them read them and play the game themselves, but that's perhaps a little bit too ambitious yet. It's okay at this stage that you explain the rules, just like a friend would if he was playing with them or she was playing with her friends, and then you step back and let them play and let them ask you questions. How was that rule, or what can I do if this happens, or whatever, and you answer them and you set them playing. And you should tell them that you really want them to, you want their ideas, you want their feedback, you want them to play with the game. But it's a good idea, because people are often very willing to help, is that you tell them play first and then come up with ideas in the second half of the game, because it's very interesting to see how they receive your initial game. And that doesn't mean that things can't be changed during the game, because what I actually want you to do is that as the players start playing, or your friends start playing, feel free to interrupt them and say, oh, the rule is like that, by the way. To change the game on the fly, that's okay. Because you'll be discovering very soon things that aren't working or working as intended, or where you have to do a little more explaining, or you find out that you've all been up till now keeping a rule that was never written down, and then you of course tell them about this rule, etc. So change things along the way. And I can also recommend that you bring, if you have cards in the game or whatever, that you bring some extra components where you can just write on it during the game, so you can say, oh, there's also this card in the game, or you can also do this suddenly. And of course your players, if they're really trying to win, will be a little bit annoyed, and then you should just tell them that that's all part of it, and if they have a good idea, bring it out as well. But that should be in the second part of the experience, because otherwise perhaps you won't even get started before your friends are starting to change your game as well. And what you should be looking for as the players are playing is how are they reacting, who's having fun and why, and perhaps are some players not having fun. Try to figure it out, why are they not engaged, what's the game's missing, how has the game perhaps been misunderstood, or whatever. And if you have time, play the game several times, or stop halfway and say, okay, we start over, so that you get as much feedback as possible. And at the end you should ask your friends what did they like about the game and what did they perhaps miss. Be careful not to ask them don't you just love this game, or kind of asking a closed question. Ask some very neutral, open questions like, what is good here, what is really working, what do you see missing, or what is not working for you in this game. And then remember to thank them a lot for their contribution. Yeah, and of course you should be taking notes and figuring out what are we going to change afterwards. And these are some of the key decisions. Who are you going to invite? That'll be very important. Try to get a different group together, some people with different approaches or skills or mindsets. Some of the things that will be important is when are you going to go into the game and say, hey, stop that, you can't do this, or stop whatever the players are doing, and at which situation are you just letting it happen so you can see what happens. That's very important. Be careful not to intervene too much, but don't sit back either, because there will be things that's best if it's changed on the fly. And what you should move on when you really know what needs to be changed in this game, what should remain, what should be completely discarded, perhaps. And it's okay that you don't know the solutions yet, but you should know by now when you're moving on which issues in this game need to be addressed.